the earliest migrants into Japan were from the Korean Peninsula and China. They brought things like rice, and they brought things like iron farming tools. As well as this, they established a cultural background and a religious background. This eventually led to a population growth, which would lead us to the Nara period.
Though China never really invaded Japan, Chinese influence was spread through forms of government. Inspired by the Tang example, the imperial house established a courthouse, a Chinese-style bureaucracy, and an equal field system. As well as this, Confucianism and Buddhism was widely recognized throughout. After years of prosperity, the capital was moved once again to Aeon, and this spread the Aeon period of Japan in 794. Unlike the Chinese, Japanese emperors didn't necessarily rule. Instead, there were more figureheads and symbols for authority. The power truly was in the Fujiwara family, an aristocratic clan. After the Aeon period, during the Kamukara and the Muromachi periods, the power shifted from the government to a class called the samurai through a political decentralization. Japan found little need for a centralized government during this time.
Chinese influence also played a huge role in the spread of religion and philosophy. Though Japan kept their own religion, Buddhism was one of the main beliefs that spread from China. On a more philosophical side, Confucianism also spread to Japan. Many political structures, such as the Japanese imperial courts and aristocracy, were led by Confucian principles. In the temples built, Japan adopted Chinese Buddhist art that had subject and matter techniques.
Japan borrowed many forms of Chinese architecture, which was seen in many cities most prominently, such as the capital cities like Nara and Kyoto. Inside these buildings and temples, Chinese art decorated every wall, from paintings to sculpture. As well as this, Japan adopted aspects of Chinese writing and language. Lastly, new farming techniques, those that helped the rice production spread from China to Japan. This greatly increased the population and made Japan prosperous.
China also greatly influenced Japan's social structure. Japan had dynastic cycles modeled after those commissioned by emperors in China. Japan also developed a court etiquette that combined Chinese protocol with ancient Japanese ideas. Merchants also established commercial relationships with Japan, and the government tried to implement an equal field system for the lower class, the farmers. The aristocrats, however, tried to present themselves as Confucian scholars, reinforced by the official support of Confucianism and Buddhism. Japan also broke away from the Chinese precedent in determining rank by birth and did not follow their idea of little movement in the social positions.
Although official support was present for Confucianism and Buddhism, not all aspects of Chinese society that found its way into Japan stuck or worked as they should have. The Japanese continued to observe and perform rites of Shinto, their indigenous religion that revolved around ancestral veneration and nature spirits and deities. Japan also strayed away from China's limited social movement and allowed movement through the classes. Though China influenced a lot of Japan, some attributes stayed the same, creating specific characteristics unique only to Japan.